Hello, and welcome to the second episode of Purpose and Pleasure with Malia.
And Taneshia.
You know what I just realized, girl, though? When we did the logo, I put your name first.
Oh,
Isn't
I didn't
that
even.
funny?
I didn't even really notice.
I know, I didn't notice either. Oh, well, we can go back and forth. We can go back
Right,
and forth.
right, right. Yeah.
But this is a podcast that we started to help women find their purpose, power, and pleasure as we seek to find our purpose, power, and pleasure.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, welcome into our Kikis. It's great to have you. How are you doing?
I'm good, Malia. I'm better. I'm better since I've been sick with this cold. It's been getting much better. Minus now the allergies that are happening. But I'm feeling so much better. I had a very busy weekend. So I'm tired. I'm exhausted. It's Monday. So, trying to get into the swing of things. Had, every morning getting up and getting the kids out for school, I feel like I run a marathon. Like it's
You
literally a
do.
race.
You do, and it's not even that long, right? It's like what is it, like an hour, and like everything has to be done in this hour, right?
Yeah,
Like
like
it's
an
not
hour
like
and a
you're getting
half.
up at 4 a.m. Yeah.
Exactly. Right, right. Yeah, everything has to be done within like an hour and a half, three different buses, because the kids go to three different schools because of their ages. They're all in different, grades. So it's like it's insanity. If I had a camera on me getting out the house and getting ready in the morning, it would be crazy. It would be a hit. It'd be a viral hit.
I was gonna say it would also reaffirm so many parents running around
Right.
getting
Oh
their
yeah.
children, and that's what's important to remember. Like you are not alone.
Right. Even though I feel like I'm alone
Um,
a lot of the time.
right. And then on the weekends you have to run the kids around too.
Yeah, because they have their own schedule with their friends. Like this weekend, we had a sleepover with both of their best friends, with Adriana and Gigi's best friend, because JoJo doesn't really have a best friend yet. He's like just turned 5. But we're all his best friend. But the girls had a sleepover with their friends from Friday to Saturday. And then from Saturday to Sunday, we had a sleepover at my sister's house in Boston. But we also went to an event in Faneuil Hall that an organization that I absolutely love. It's an Asian organization, almost like a chamber of commerce for Asian community. So they had a big festival in Faneuil Hall. So I brought the kids there. We spent some time there, and then we went to my sister's house. So it was a very eventful weekend, very fun, but tiring.
Well, and it's also nice when you have like group things so
Yes.
that you have multiple eyes, multiple children, like
Yes.
it makes it hopefully a little more where you can enjoy some of the time.
Exactly. Yeah. It was so much fun. It was so nice. And it was nice out too. Like the weather every day it'll be like, oh, 72, 75, but it's still nice out. It's not like cold
Right.
yet, except in the morning. It's freezing. It's like really cold in the morning, but the weather was so nice. It was just a really nice weekend. What'd you do?
Awesome. Well, I came back from New York,
Mm-hmm.
but over the weekend, a friend of mine was celebrating 5 years of cancer free.
Oh, that's
So,
amazing.
yes, yes. So it was so
Wow.
wonderful. It was like a true celebration of life, right? Like, because so often
Yes.
we
Oh,
celebrate
wow.
life too late. And,
Yep.
she's had a chance to celebrate her life. And so it was wonderful. And then we
Wow.
ended up watching the Bad Bunny, his free concert
Yeah,
at this like
yeah.
bar. It was like filled with Puerto Ricans and Dominicans. So it was great.
What? Oh,
And
that's
yeah,
amazing.
but then I'm just getting to the point where I need a seat.
Right. Yes, I'm definitely there. I'm there. I need a seat. Because
I,
Joel
I
will
I need a
like he
seat.
doesn't mind standing up at an event, and I'm like, no, I want to find a seat.
I
Like
need a
I need to
seat.
sit
And
down.
so yeah, and so
Yeah.
after because the celebration was like from 5 to 10. So like, we already had hours of dancing,
Right.
and then we got to the bar at like 9:30. And even though I was in sneakers, like there was no seat. So I was like,
Right.
okay, I can't like leave in 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Like And so I stayed like an hour and it was awesome. And the energy, it's like da, 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 da.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was
They
like,
have a
all right,
DJ
let
and
me
stuff
watch
too?
this from the hotel.
Did they have a DJ and
No, it
everything?
was literally
No?
just the screen, and we were
Oh,
all, it
okay.
was like as if we were watching a fight or something, like
Yeah,
everyone
yeah,
was
yeah.
just kind of
Oh, okay,
standing
okay, okay.
around the
Yes.
screen.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh,
so
that's
yeah, so I
nice.
stayed an hour because I thought that makes me, at least I hung in there a little
Right.
bit. Um, and then,
Oh
yeah,
my
and
God.
then I came back to Boston and I'm getting settled in. And tonight we're having a bystander training. So I'm excited and I can't wait to tell you all about that and how that went.
Yeah. Let me know about
Yes,
that. Where
yes.
is that going to
So
be?
at Senator Liz Miranda's office.
Okay.
So yeah, it's wonderful. We're working with her and just part of my purpose, listeners, is around collective liberation. And so this is one of the activities that I'm doing.
Amazing.
And yes, yes.
Oh my goodness. I love that. I love it.
Yes, yes. So I'm excited. And I'd like the weather to stay a little warmer.
Yes.
For the rest of the week. But
Yes.
I'm so excited about our conversation today, which is going to be
Me
on
too.
how we navigate our lives, which like
Mm-hmm.
so many of us are trying to figure out right now.
Mm-hmm.
But we always start with our question of the week. And this is, questions we go out, we look, what are we talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And I found this one and I was like, this actually like pertains to me because I feel like I'm trying to figure out how to do this better.
Right.
But how do you give people feedback
Mm-hmm.
that they may take negatively? And, I
Mm.
think like for myself, that's something that I have trouble doing because at the end of the day, like everyone's trying their best. And so
Right.
we try to give like helpful critique that's couched in love and all of this
Right.
stuff. And
Yeah.
sometimes I like don't sometimes I don't get to
The
the negative.
delivery is not what you want it to be.
Right. Like I don't get,
Yeah.
like I'm like,
I've
you're
been
just
there.
so great and you're
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
Yep.
And I notice I do it with people like especially that I hate to say this, but I just have to, that I might like feel bad for in some way. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just like, but I also love giving people positive feedback. I mean, like, you and I are
Right.
similar in this way. Like, I'd much
Yep.
rather be loving on people. Like, we
Yes.
all know what we got to improve with ourselves. Like, I
Yeah.
don't need your checklist. Help me
Right.
review mine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So like that's
Absolutely.
my balance. But
Yeah.
there are times, like when I teach, right, where it's like if there's a role I'm playing, it's much easier for me to
Yes,
do.
that's what I find. If there's a role that I'm playing, if I'm someone's mentor or I'm someone's coach, like I coached a young gentleman, he's so brilliant. Through the summer, he's in the NAACP. He was competing for one of their competition showcases in South Carolina, and so his family reached out to me, and NAACP reached out to me to counsel him and like coach him and mentor him for this pitch competition. And so all throughout the summer, we would meet like once a week and I would coach him, mentor him on his pitch and just like everything. And in that instance, like I was totally fine with giving, creative criticism and like just like critiquing everything that he was doing. And that was the purpose. Like, and I had a conversation with him because I initially met him because I'm one of the judges for NAACP with a lot of things that they do. And so with this particular Act So project and program, I met him and like we kind of like talked and things like that. And then when they reached out to me, I was like, okay, I let him know like this is going to be for the purpose of like me really like digging in and like helping you to be uncomfortable, to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. and like just really help and guide you through like your facial expressions, like your pitching, like how you want to present, narrowing down, like even went through his slide, pitches, his pitch deck, and just everything. Like we went full throttle. And at first he was like really nervous. And like I'm very loving, but I'm also very upfront and honest and like transparent. And so in a conversation, even when I have interns like with my organization and everything, like everyone knows, like you can talk to me about anything, like anything at all, like whatever you're feeling, no question is stupid. Ask me any and everything, because I will give you my honest feedback and opinion. But I'm also very loving with it. I'm not rude about it. I'm not
Right, like I don't
disrespectful.
believe in this. Well, I'm just being honest.
Yeah, no, I don't believe in
Like
that
you
either,
don't
because you
have
wouldn't
to
want
try
someone
to
talking
hurt
to
my
you like
feelings.
that. Right,
Right.
exactly. So I'm always very, very careful about how I relay the message, even though it will be like honest, feedback, but I'm always just very careful about how I relay it, because it's not what you say, it's how you say it in every situation. And it's not even just with, mentorships and students, it's with adults too. Like, everything is about how you relay a message. And there's always a way to do that in the best way possible. Like, there's just some people that I know that are just like very blunt and like, oh, I don't care, take it or leave it. Like, no, that's not the way you would want someone talking to you. So you don't do that.
Right.
So
And also
there's
you
definitely a
want
way to do
people
it.
to like receive the message.
Exactly. They
And
want them to hear you.
like right. And yeah, I think like this is all about how we navigate, right? Which is like what we're talking about today. You like that
Yeah.
segue? Listen, it's our second episode, you guys. Soon
Yeah.
we're even going to have like effects and stuff. We have to practice. We
Yeah.
also need to think of theme music. So if you have any ideas of like what kind of music you think would be good for our show, let us
Yes, that
know.
would be great feedback.
And let us know how you navigate that. Like, are you one of those people that you just keep it real? And then if so, like, how do you navigate? How
Right.
do people respond to that?
Right.
Is it a positive response? Is it like a not positive? Like
Yeah.
just let us know.
Because I've definitely been
Um,
in situations, Malia, just to add to that really quick. I've been in situations where I was the most gentle, the most thoughtful way of giving feedback, and the individual still was like offended. And I'm like, you tell me how to respond to this. How do you expect or anticipate me responding to this? Like, what would be your response to this? And so I kind of put it back on them. And then it's like we talked through through the situation, and it was better. But it's like there are going to be situations where you can give your response and give your feedback, and no, they just don't want to hear it. Like some people just don't
that's
want to
it.
hear feedback on anything that they do.
Right. And on
So
that, I
yeah,
always say, then don't.
yeah,
Like there is no like because if people like want to live their lives, like
yeah,
let them live their lives. Like a funny aside, um, as we before we jump in. But
yeah.
so I have this friend and he's always telling me like you are too nice to people.
Oh my God,
Like
that's
he's like,
everybody tells me that.
people, yeah. And
Everybody.
he's like, like there are people who are asking you questions like, like we had a friend who wanted to, she wanted to go off and become famous basically.
Mhm.
And that really wasn't going to be like for so many reasons.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh my God, yes, girl, go. Like pursue your dreams. Da, 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 da. And my friend was like, what
Why you not
about
keeping it
her?
real? Right.
Right. Like makes you think she can achieve that.
Mm.
And I was like, you know what? Like, I just don't. I was like, what was I supposed to say?
Right. You don't want to knock anyone's dreams
Like, and he
either.
was like, you ask questions, da da da. And when he says it, it sounds very good. But just for me, like I'd rather be. I think I'm the person in the friend group. You're the person in the friend group where
Yes.
we would rather
I would rather
like
root you on. They
That's
give you
it.
positivity, then like, oh girl, don't try that. Don't try that. Like, I'm not gonna
You
knock
will not win.
anybody's dream of what they want to
It, like you do not have the talent for that.
do. Right. No, I'm not that person. Like, I'm not, I'm yeah, I'm not that person. Me and you are definitely the same in that way.
That's
Like,
it.
I will be your cheerleader before
That's
anything
it.
else. Like,
Well, let's
yeah,
talk about the person you are,
yeah,
because what we're diving into today, and I feel like this is something that comes up for us in so many different ways, but like
yeah,
who the intersectionality, shout out to Kimberly Crenshaw, is this idea that you're more than just an identity, right? So
yeah.
Tanisha, you are more than just a woman. You are more than just a Black woman, but you are the
Right,
sum of being a cis, straight,
right.
Black woman, wife, mother,
Mm-hmm.
entertainer,
Yep.
creator, right? Like all of those things are who you
Mm-hmm.
are, and they affect how you navigate the world. And I think like right now, so many barriers are being like put up
Oh yeah.
for us to like embrace that. Like, let's talk about how our unique experiences, like, and how being all of these things has like led to amazing lives,
Yeah.
like I often think like as much as I would love like equity, as if like, straight male privilege, right? Or like there's that
Right.
saying like, oh, if I could be, a mediocre, if I could have the confidence of a mediocre white man,
Right. Yeah.
but like I wouldn't. Like I
Right.
actually love being me. So tell me how do you identify and how does the world receive that?
So, for me, I really believe in just truly living in my authentic self. Like, I've never had an issue with like not being myself or trying to be something else. Like, I definitely know people very close to me that have gone through that. And that's not something that I have personally ever wanted to be. It was anything other than myself. I also have always been very like mindful of the things that I will do, even before having a business, like even the jobs that I wanted or the experiences that I wanted to have. Like, I've always at a very young age been very mindful of like what I wanted. And if it wasn't what I wanted, I just wasn't a part of it. Like, I just even when it came to dating, even when it came to like, choosing that position, like my sisters and I, we were Budweiser girls. We worked for Anheuser-Busch, and we were Budweiser girls for years in Atlanta, Georgia. And
Listen, that's the place to be of
it
my
was the
life.
place to be. Early 2000s was like the best time in Atlanta.
Girl, I wish I knew you then because we were
Oh,
going down there looking for the fun and we could have
oh
just
my
met up
God.
with you.
Amazing, amazing. And so marketing background and like brand partnerships, brand ambassador, like I had done that for years. And it was something that I honestly love to do because your job is like to talk to people and to like make people feel good and to like, sell and promote brands. And like that was literally, I had been doing that since I was like 17. And so when I got this job with Anheuser-Busch, I was 21. And it was like, when I tell you, Malia, it was like the best time of my life. We had
Okay, so can you
so
just
much
tell
fun.
us one story from there,
Ah,
from that time? Just one, and what and
ah.
I'll give you a chance to think for a little bit.
No, I
Tell
already
us.
know. I already
Okay, oh
know.
go, go,
There's so
go.
many, but I'm gonna choose one out of like the hundreds. So when working with Anheuser-Busch, our job was to make friends and to talk to people and give out free beer at like the hottest clubs and events in Atlanta. So literally any event that was happening in Atlanta with the celebrities or football players, basketball players, anything, like we were the ones that were there, and that was our account. Like it was called an account. Any event that was happening was like, okay, we have to be at the stadium. This is our account for today. So like we would go there, talk to people, be in the VIP lounges. And so one particular event that we went to was with T.I. and Jamie Foxx. And what was the name of the club? Oh my God, Velvet Room? It was one of the bigger clubs back then in Atlanta.
Right.
And we came in this branded Hummer, because Hummers were it back then. Like, if you didn't have a Hummer, what were you doing with your life if you didn't own a Hummer? And so we came in on this like branded Hummer through like the different streets of Atlanta, through Peachtree Street. There was like a big parade or some type of festival that was like leading up to this big event. And so we were like on this like Hummer that was like Anheuser-Busch branded. And so we're partying, the music's playing, we're like dancing on the Hummer and all that stuff. And then we get to the event, we go inside, we're in VIP with all the celebrities, with T.I., everybody giving them free beer, taking pictures, hanging out. And this is like behind the scenes tea, because at the time, T.I., I mean, obviously he was married to Tiny. They've been married since they were like, I think teenagers, something like. They've been married forever.
Right.
But he was there with another woman. So Tiny from Escape, we're in VIP, and so we're passing out, beer and stuff like that. We're talking to people, whatever. And so all of a sudden, everyone looks over, and everyone's like, and so me and my sisters were like, what's going on? Like, what is everybody looking at? So Tiny comes through VIP. T.I. is sitting with this girl, hugged up, kissing on her all night, all that stuff. And Tiny comes through and she starts going off, like starting a fight in VIP. And I was like,
as one would.
Oh my God. It was like craziness. It went down. Okay. So she had words with T.I. She was trying to get at the girl. The security had to get involved. They had to separate them and go to, it was craziness. But I was like, oh my God, this is like some like behind the scenes stuff. There was no TMZ or, there or anything like that, but it was like an eventful night. It was a very eventful night, but it was like one of the funnest nights that I had like during my time with like Anheuser-Busch. And we were for years just like, I had to go through beer school, everything, flown to St. Louis to there. It was just like, it was an incredible experience and like one of the best jobs I've ever had. Like it was amazing.
I love that.
I
love that.
Yeah.
And so that job, let's talk about how that job helped you.
Yeah.
Like this idea, right? Like,
oh my God. In so many ways, because you're going into this, first of all, moving to Atlanta, Georgia, did not know one person. Like we picked up and moved to Atlanta, Georgia to build our singing career for our entertainment, our entertainment career. And so at the time we had an entertainment attorney that was the same entertainment attorney for like Sierra, T.I., Jazzy Faye, like all the top people in Atlanta. And he was like, what are you doing in Boston? You guys are not going to go anywhere with your singing career in Boston. You need to move to Atlanta. So literally after like 2.5, 3 years of like kind of going back and forth, seeing how we liked it, we finally decided to make the move. And so moving there, knew no one, did not know like what to do, like never lived anywhere else either. And so like moving to Atlanta and being in that environment was just so like, it was a shock. It was a culture shock because you come from Boston where, it looks completely different. And then you go to Atlanta.
And you got real Black power in Atlanta.
Yes. And that was something I was not used to seeing. I wasn't used to seeing like the owners of banks. I wasn't used to seeing like, all these restaurant owners that were like all Black and like the powerful people that were in this city that were people of color was just so empowering.
And they were being powerful. They were using their power.
They were using their power and they were so down to earth and helpful and just intentional about wanting to support in any way possible. And that was something I was never used to. And so it just really opened my eyes and it really helped me be a person that was a lot more open too, because being, coming from Boston and being brought up in a space where there's always this rejection, there's always this like coldness to people and experiences. It was just like, wow, like this is how people are like living in other places. And so it really just opened up my eyes to so much more. I met my best friends in Atlanta. I made my amazing partnerships in Atlanta, like with just the things I wanted to do, like on the side of obviously Budweiser, just creative things that I did. Like so many people were in support of that, like
That's
immediately.
right.
As soon as I mentioned something like, oh, let's do this, call this
Right,
person,
right. I
get them
know,
in
right.
on this.
Call this
Like,
person, let them know I sent you, blah, 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 blah.
yes, it was like instant, like instantly. There
Community.
was no like, you know what, too? There was no buddy system. Maybe there is, I'm sure there is, like in every city, I'm sure you have some sort of like buddy system where people know each other, they have their crew, whatever. I didn't experience that. And I didn't experience someone not providing information or support or access in any type of way for me because of a buddy system or
This is such an important part too. I think we
yeah.
talk about, how we navigate. Like
Yes.
navigating alone is awful,
So
and
hard.
when we're talking about like who we are, and you go back to this, this memory of being a part of this company that was about having fun and
Yes.
you were like supporting folks and looking cute and
Mm-hmm.
jumping out of Hummers like in
Yes.
so many ways, like that makes
Yes. It was so
perfect
fun.
perfect sense to me.
Yes.
And I think it's also, so just so our listeners know, we
Yeah.
were born on the exact same day, same year, like, and this is something that, we think leads to a lot of why we get along so well, because like we
Yes.
see so
Yes.
much of each other and each other.
Absolutely.
But like,
Absolutely.
like I think like when I'm thinking about how, like how I've navigated, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like my first memory is like finding Black nationalism with like my white mom and stepdad in Honolulu, Hawaii.
Right.
And like really
Yes.
having no real place. Well, in Hawaii, white supremacy, right? Because like of colonization and all that, like that is a
Mm-hmm.
thing. But like the whole like Black nationalism, and my mom, it was her fault. She bought me the autobiography of Malcolm X when I was
Oh,
13 years old. And I called her
wow.
the blue-eyed white devil. And I told her that we had to self-segregate the house
Oh
because she
my
couldn't raise me
gosh,
to be
she
a strong
did.
Black queen.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. And
amazing because I
you
have
know, it,
friends and family members who are, biracial and their white, parent doesn't all the way give in to that, like that culture and
I
that
had
side
no
of who you
idea. And
are.
that made me so sad when I found that out because first of all, growing up in Hawaii, like everyone is a
Mhm.
lighter shade of brown with a bit of Asian, right? Like
Mhm.
everyone is like Tongan, Filipino, French, Japanese, right? Like that's like
Mhm.
what someone will be, right? Puerto Rican,
Yeah,
like everything, everyone is like
everyone's mixed.
multiple things.
Yes. Mhm.
So, it's not like I didn't grow up, with that.
Right.
So, there were very few Black and white mixtures, right? So
Okay.
I knew my mother, right? Like, and I guess I
Right.
just assumed that my mother was very, shout out to my mom. My mother was very intentional
Mhm.
about making sure that I like knew who I
That's
was.
incredible.
And
Incredible.
then my father had this girlfriend when I was like, and my father is like, a Black man, right? Like this
Mhm.
Afro Latino who like grew up in Harlem, right?
Mhm.
Like, he's very much a New Yorker,
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
and so I had that sensibility, but then he dated this woman, Sharon Thomas, RIP. She just passed a couple of years ago. And
Oh.
she was this like very well coiffed, like her father was a preacher, Black
Mm.
woman out of Detroit.
Okay.
And she was a model in LA and she was gorgeous and she was fashionable. And I was like 12 when they were going out, and she was
Wow.
like, "You are a Black woman. This is what it means. This is what you do."
Yes.
She like, she like talked to my mom so I could get braids, like it was just this.
Wow.
And my mother even says, my mother was like, I was thankful for Sharon because she came in your life at
Right.
a time when
Wow.
you were, you're 12 years old, you're trying to figure out
Right.
who you are. And I couldn't say the things to you that Sharon was saying,
Right.
because she was a white woman, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
Sharon was like, oh, no, 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 this is what it means.
Wow.
This is how you lotion your body. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? This
right,
is what you put on to lotion your body. This is, earrings always, like that sort of,
right.
very
Wow.
much. Yeah, yeah, and I think that helped navigate. But, when I think about like, my first memories of Boston was starting Mass Vote
Mm-hmm.
and, being accepted by, the end of like Leonard Hawkins, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
Mike Curry. I mean, just so many
Yes.
wonderful, wonderful folks. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think for both of us, like we found community to navigate with, and no
Absolutely.
matter where we went.
Yes.
And I think like that's something that has been really powerful
Mm-hmm.
in both of our
So
lives has
powerful.
been
Yes.
navigating with
Mm-hmm.
community and being able to reach out and
Yes.
just, like the amount of times like I'll call you or you'll call me like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing this thing.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's like wonderful. Let's do it together.
Yes.
And
Finding that community is so important, and actually putting yourself in those spaces too, because I feel like, because going back to Atlanta, because we weren't from there and we didn't know anyone, it could have been easily like, okay, I'm just not going to be a part of anything in this community. I'm just going to like get a job, go home, and work on my music. But no, it was more than that. We wanted to really find community in Atlanta, and it was like, okay, like what is the best way to do this other than making friends and being in an environment and working for an organization that wanted us to make friends in a new city and to
right.
be
And
in
when
those
you're working on
rooms.
entertainment, it's
Yes,
nice to be able to be in a spot with Jamie Foxx and T.I.
exactly. Yeah. Oh
Like these
yeah.
are the stories you hear.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things that I think is really important for women when we're
Mm-hmm.
navigating and trying to find purpose, power, pleasure is like this idea of, the archetypes of women, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I want to spend a little time. And I think for you, right, like it's like these ideas of being the dutiful wife and the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
sacrificial mother, right? And,
Yes. Yep.
for me, it's a different thing, but I
Yeah.
want to dive into for you
Mm-hmm.
what that feels like, like,
Yeah.
like you're a mom, right? Like,
Right.
obviously, you want to be a good mom. Obviously, you love
Right.
your children. That comes
Yes.
naturally. But what is the society? What does society tell you? What does that feel like? And how do you navigate that?
Right. So for me, because I always live in my authentic self, I don't really care what society says. I always look internally. So for me, I know that I know how I want to live my life. I know that I want to be an incredible mom. I know that I want to be there for my children's important moments. I know that I also want to be an entrepreneur and a business owner, and I want to be my own boss, and I want to have my own freedom. I want to be an incredible wife. I want to travel with no restrictions. Like those are all the things that I want to do. I think that when it comes to society, and you get the most judgment, honestly, from other moms, and from what I have
No,
experienced.
and I've also heard that too. I mean, it
Oh yeah,
always shocks me when I hear it because I
I know, and
think
it's
like,
crazy, right? Because you're going through the same things, some of the same things that I'm going through as a mom. So you would think that there would be some grace. For me, it's been more of other moms in that sense, like judgment and like, oh, you're not able to make this, you know, this event for your kid, or you're not able to do this and that. And so I feel like it comes more from there. And a lot of the people that are judgy in that way, or that don't understand that I'm an entrepreneur and that my schedule looks very different from yours, those are typically people that I just don't like hang around, or, you know, that are not in my
Or
life and
you
I'm not
hear
close
it
to.
and you're like, this, not my
Yeah,
monkey, not my circus. Like,
exactly. Like I'm very,
you
very good
can think
at
I'm a
putting,
shitty mom if you want.
exactly right. Like I'm
Let's
very
pull
good
kid
at putting
receipts 20
people.
years from now because
Yeah,
my kids are going to be awesome. Let's see what your kids are doing.
absolutely. And I know that I'm an
And
incredible
I'll
mom.
be
Like
petty on your behalf,
exactly. Yes,
because
please
I know
do. Please
you
do.
just said
Please be
mom
petty
shouldn't
on
be
my
being
behalf.
petty on other moms. But it's
Because
just, like
yeah.
I was working with, this woman who, she has her own business.
Hmm.
She's also married, right? So she has that support. And she was like totally stressed and da da da. And it was all because, this woman had made a comment that like she doesn't really do the carpooling
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
her husband does. Now, so
Hmm. Right.
carpooling is being done. They're a part of the carpool community.
Right.
Carpooling is being done. A
Hmm.
licensed driver accepted by all the parents is right. It's
Hmm.
a parent that's taking the kids.
Right.
So why are you saying anything? Your kid didn't get left like how it
Exactly.
used to be for us, where you just had to wait
You just had to
while
wait
your
or
mom
walk.
was late.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, so
There's
it's
so
like,
much. There's so
it's
much,
so
Malia.
unfortunate. And I
Yeah.
think that we need to have, and maybe listeners, let us know if there's a term, because it's not like Karen, like, but there
Right. Right.
needs to become a language where
Right.
you can check someone
Right. Yeah.
that's doing that and just be
Right.
like, motherhood, sisterhood, sis.
Exactly. And the thing is, too, I feel like a lot of women, and these are just some women, not all, but like for me, like I made a decision from when I got pregnant with my first child. Like, I'm not going to allow being a mother to stop me from living out my dreams and what I want to do and pursue in my business. Like, I literally made that. I was a very conscious decision that I made. And then I talked to Joelle about it. Like, I talked to my husband, like, this is something that I'm going to continue to do, and this is what I'm going to do. Like there's no like, negotiating with that. And so it becomes very hard, obviously, because when you have a business, it's not something that's like, oh, a 9 to 5. It's something that is like constant, and it's, constantly evolving. When you're growing, that's even more demanding. So for me, it was always something like, when having children, it was always more of a motivator for me to be like, okay, I need to go harder. Like, I did this, but now I need to go harder because I have humans that I have to raise, that I have to build legacy for. So like, I need to do this even more. And so like, it's always been such a
Right, because you
motivator for
don't
me.
want them seeing
Right.
a woman that doesn't chase their dreams. I mean,
Exactly.
you have mixed gender children,
Yep.
right? Like, and so whether it's who you invite into, you just don't want people thinking that it's okay for women to not
It
chase
just
their dreams because they're
exactly.
moms.
And if
Right.
anything that my kids are gonna know and learn is that mommy chased her dreams no matter what. Like, yes, I had my concert, I had my concert for my chorus practice, but then right after, mommy had to go to work and she had to have her event. And then she came back and then she was able to talk to me about what happened in my day. And like, I want to make sure that I am so well rounded in that way. And sometimes I do put extra pressure on myself to, not just be in the moments of my business and the day-to-day, what that looks like, but also be very present for my kids. So like, I've had to do a lot of things like, okay, I'm not going to have my phone, open and like looking at an email while I'm talking to them. And it took me years to like have certain boundaries when it came to that. But like, there's just certain tweaks and things that like I don't do now because like my daughter Gigi, she's 9 now, but like this was like 2 years ago. Like she'll be like, "Mommy, like, are you listening to me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm listening." And she'll be like, "Well, you're on your phone." And I'm like,
Right. She was like,
"You're
you're
right,
not.
Gigi.
She,
You're
she
right."
was like, because I'm young. I don't have the language. I'm feeling energy. And this
Yes,
is
yes.
not active listening energy.
Exactly. And it was true. I was not really, because then she would say something, and I'm like, yeah. And then she's like, oh, really? And I'm like, wait, what'd you say? No, not yeah. Like, wait, repeat that again. And so it was like, I really wasn't all the way concentrating and listening in that moment. And so it's like, okay, now I'm like, okay, I'm not going to text. I'm not going to email while they're talking to me, because when my kids get home, they want all of my attention.
That's
When
it.
I say
That's
all,
it.
like, I'm having conversation from 10 different angles. Like, okay, wait a minute, hold
Yeah.
up. Like, one person speak at a time. But then it's also like in conversation with Joel, like me and Joel, like my husband, he owns his own business as well now. And I've had my business for over 13 years. And so it's like having the conversations with him about, you know, what things that he should be doing, and letting him know, like, I support you now that you're on, you know, on this entrepreneurship journey and having your own business. Like, I want him to feel supported in that too, because I was always the
Yeah.
one going to him and dumping all of my stress and frustration and all that stuff,
Totally.
and, you know, all the brainstorming ideas. And so it's just really being able to just really fade out all the background noise and really do what's best for you, and like not really caring what other people have to say about how you're living your life and what you're doing, especially when you know
That's
you're
it.
doing it to the best of your ability and you're doing a great job at it. Like, I am an absolute, I say this all the time, I am an incredible mother. And I know that for a fact. I know that
That's
for a
it.
fact. Like, I don't need anyone else to tell me
That's
that,
it.
because I
No.
know that I'm an incredible mother. I know I'm an incredible business owner. I know that I'm an incredible wife. Like, I don't need that validation from anyone else to tell me that. Like, when my kids are like, oh my
That's
God,
it.
Mom, you're the best in the world. I'm like, I know, right? Thank you. Like,
You're
and
like,
then he's
hey, aren't
laugh,
you lucky?
because I'm like, I know that I am, because I
Right.
know I'm very intentional about all the things that I continue to
And
do
you
and
also
strive for.
know, like I heard this great saying, like, there's no good or bad moms. There's good
Right.
days and there's bad days. And,
Yep.
giving yourself the grace and space. And I think,
Yes.
for me, like, I knew I didn't want children
Yeah.
from a very young age. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and navigating that has been really interesting. And I have to say, like, it's probably now,
Mm-hmm.
that I can see 50,
Mm-hmm.
that I am so clear that I have made the right decision,
Mm-hmm.
that this was absolutely the life that I wanted,
Right.
and there is so many people. I mean, even now, like I'm 48, and
Mm-hmm.
people will say, like, well, you just haven't met the right one yet. And I'm like,
No,
girl,
that's not
I'm
it.
waiting for these two last eggs to get
Exactly.
through so I can like stop my IUD. Like, what are we
Oh my
talking about
God.
here? Like, and
Right.
so I think like, it's like there's
You know what
pressure no
works for
matter what
you.
you choose,
Right.
like, and the other thing I have found is like, and this is something else that, right, what do they say, like in perimenopausal, right? Like you stop giving a shit. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I noticed that I did feel that I had to have an explanation,
Mm-hmm.
like of why I
Yeah.
didn't
I can see that,
want
because I'm sure
children,
everyone was
or
constantly
why I
asking you.
wasn't
Yeah.
interested in, a husband. And,
Yeah.
and now, like, I can ask the question back, right? Like, and now I
Right.
can be like, well, why did you think having children was gonna make, like you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
not like, well, it just, I knew I didn't want kids, and that's an important thing. Like,
Right.
like, honestly, like, all that you all do, like, I don't want
Ooh,
that. Like,
girl.
you have to really
You have to
want
want. It's a
to
yes.
be a mother.
Yes.
And, it's not, and most of my friends, thank God, have met the right one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not that they didn't meet the right one. They did. They had children with wonderful men, whether they're together or not,
Right.
men who show up, like men who love their children.
Yes.
And that, like, it still looks like too much work to me.
Right.
You know
No,
what
it is.
I'm
It's
saying?
insane. No, Malia, you are absolutely right. It is an incredible amount of work that never stops. You can't pass it on to somebody else. It's not anyone else's responsibility. It's like, it is definitely something. And that's why I waited. I waited until 28 before having my first child, because I was like, I need to be
Let me live
mentally
some
ready.
life.
if this is something that I want to do, like I want to be ready. And I was getting questions a lot, like, because me and my husband, we've been together since we were teenagers. So obviously everyone was like, oh, when are you guys having kids? Like, are you going to get pregnant? And I'm like, no, I'm not getting pregnant yet because that's not what I want to do yet. And so it's like, I literally was like, I'm going to do this when I want to do it. And like when me
That's
and
right.
Joel literally said, okay. And when I mentally was ready, when he mentally was ready, we were like, okay, we want to do this now. And so it's like everyone, it doesn't matter what anyone else says. Like, you know what's good for you. You know what works for you. And that's it. Like,
And
there
that's
should be
it.
no explanations. And I feel like people
No,
should not judge and continue to make other people feel horrible about something that they want to do with their life. I just
that's it.
think that for me is just crazy. Like, I just, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. Like,
Nope.
I don't understand
Nope.
that at all.
Nope. It doesn't make, and again, like it, we know like why it works for like capitalism and all of that stuff,
Right.
but why we agree to it and why we do it to each other.
Right, to each other.
It, right,
Yep,
like, so ladies, at least we can stop judging how people are navigating, how people
exactly,
are
and support each
identifying.
other,
Like,
whatever
we
that
are
person's
all out
decision is.
here in these
Right,
streets
exactly.
trying our
Trying
best.
our darndest.
Like, that's it. That's it. If someone's looking
Oh
good
my
because they're
God.
on Ozempic, let them. Don't be judging
Exactly.
that shit. If someone
Right.
doesn't want to have kids and so they're traveling all the time,
Living their
let
best
them.
life. Let them. I live through
Exactly.
you all the time. When you're in
Yeah,
Hawaii and I'm here in the cold, I'm like, oh my God, Malia's there living her best life. I want her to have a drink for me. I want her to go party
that's
for
it.
me.
And
I
I
want her to do all the
do.
things.
And I do. And I keep on telling y'all, come
Oh my
over.
God.
And this is another thing I want to say is that, like, my mom never said, and neither did my dad, like, oh, when I'm a grandpa, when I'm a grandma. Like, they never put that pressure on me. But
Yeah.
as an auntie, I love bringing younger children into my mother's lives. So, like,
Yeah.
my nieces come out for Christmas, and I'm always telling y'all, come
Aw.
out because my mother does love kids. So we
Oh
have the
my
boat and it can be
God.
a good time.
You gotta make a way there.
So we got to figure it out. But
Yeah.
girl, this was such a good discussion. And,
It really was.
I just want our listeners to know we were trying to keep this on time and like,
Yeah, I know.
whatever. We're just
It
chit
never goes on
chatting.
time. We always go
Exactly.
over
These
time.
are our first ones.
Yes.
But we
Never goes over
have
time.
our purpose, power, pleasure journaling exercise now.
Yes.
And this is one that we want you to do in group. And it is vision board. So invite your girlfriends over. You
Mm-hmm.
can also do this by yourself. You can do it with your kids. You can do it with
Yes.
your partners. You can do it on Zoom, right? Make
Mm-hmm.
it easy for yourself. But vision board, and the question is, what are all the aspects that make up you? So, what are all the aspects of you? And with vision boards, you cut out, images, colors,
Yes.
sayings that help you answer this question. And you just free flow, look
Mm-hmm.
through magazines, drink some tea, sip on some wine, and
Yes.
answer this question. And I'm a big vision boarder, so I'll
I
share a couple
love
of
vision
vision
boards.
boards. So
Yes.
you probably already have a couple of vision boards. So
Mm-hmm.
we will be sharing vision boards
Mm-hmm.
with this. But ladies, just give yourself, you can do it in 15, 20 minutes. You can take 2 hours.
Yep.
So, give yourself the time and think about the aspects of you. Again, with no judgment,
Right.
grace and space.
Yep.
Do it with
No
people who
judgment.
support and love you. All right, on from navigating to journaling to girl pleasure tea. It's
Pleasure
time
tea
for
time.
pleasure
It is
tea,
pleasure
and
tea
this is
time.
your tea.
Yes. So my tea today is something that I watched over the weekend. And there's so many things that I watch because I absolutely love TV. I love reality TV. I love Hot Topics. I love it all. I really do. Like, I am just like that. I just love watching so many different things. But one thing that I watched this weekend was Pop Star Academy, it's called.
On Netflix. Now what is this?
Oh my God. When I tell you, I binge watched it. Like,
because I'm thinking about Diddy's making of the band when you say it. So I'm nervous.
So it's almost okay. So it is literally a competition showcase where they were over 120,000 submissions, and they're choosing a girl group, but it's K-pop style. So I don't know if you know K-pop, Korean pop.
I'm familiar with K-pop through
my kids are obsessed with K-pop. But K-pop is typically like, it's Korean K-pop. So it's like Korean, artists, and they have amazing music, and they do, the music is really good and it's upbeat and all those things. And so there's two record labels that have come together to develop a K-pop-esque group. And so
right, so these are American. Some might be Asian, but it's not like
they're from all over the world.
Right, they're all over the world.
Oh my God.
Oh wait, I might get into this now. Hold on.
When I tell you though, oh my God, Malia, please watch it.
So is it like an American Idol, or are they all living together?
So yes, both. So they're living together. So the girls that they chose to like be in this house together, they narrowed it down though, because there were so many submissions that the show starts with them like kind of narrowing it down.
Right. Like the American Idol style.
Because it was a lot. But these girls, the ones that they chose, there were about, I want to say they started off with like 20 girls, or 30 to 20 girls or something like that. They're all living in one house, but going through this talent and development boot camp that is insane. Like when I tell you, it is like almost like, so K-pop, that whole culture, they're very, very motivated in a way where the way that they do their training, it's very disciplined. Like there's no like slacking on anything. And so the training that these girls are going through, it is like a football boot camp style training, but it's vocal, it's dance, it's facial expressions. But
is it positive, or are they like,
it is positive. It's very positive. There's definitely ups and downs. There are definitely
tying back to our question.
Yeah, like there's definitely ups and downs. There are definitely parts of it.
Is there like a Simon Cowell type character who's like,
absolutely,
and then there's like a Paula Abdul character that's like, you're awesome. You can see how long ago I was watching talent shows.
I know, no. It's, believe me, when I tell you, it's so multifaceted in so many ways. This whole show, because I've been seeing it. I would scroll through Netflix and I would see it pop up, and I'm like, oh, that looks cute, and then I would just pass it. And so my sister's the one that told me to watch it. And when I sat down and watched the show, I could not turn the TV off, because you just see so many elements and moments of behind the scenes that people don't realize how much work goes into.
Like you were able to identify with it, right?
Yes, that was like the main part. I was able to identify with so many parts of this show, where it's like I was crying on moments with the girl. Like it was just very emotional in certain moments, but it was very positive. Certain moments were a little negative, but that's what comes with the industry. It really is. It's
one of the problems, right? Like it's one of the problems with the industry.
Yes, big time.
This is why so many, right? It's a very negative place to reside.
Yes, but at a certain level, there becomes audience participation where people vote on like what girls need to go to the next level.
And like, are the girls supporting one another? And then
they are. That was the amazing part, is they were all like sisters. So when everyone when certain ones would get sent home, it was very sad, because they were all together for almost 2 years. This show is a span of almost 2 years in like 9 episodes. When I tell you, you guys got to watch it. You got to watch it. Malia, you have to watch it.
What is it called? Pop Star Academy?
Yes, Cat's Eye. Pop Star Academy, Cat's Eye. You'll see it. As soon as you put it in on Netflix, it will pop up and you'll see it. So the girl group now that they chose is actually out now. But I don't want you guys to look up, I don't want you guys
to no spoilers, no spoilers.
Yeah, I don't want you to, I don't want to give any spoilers.
I might even check it out this weekend.
Because you have to see what they went through. It was a lot. You guys will have a new respect for entertainers after watching this show, because
I love it.
It shows all the elements. It's
Well, and I
incredible.
just love, to your point, like being behind the scenes. That's what I loved
Yes,
about the
I love that. I
Lizzo
love seeing the behind the
dance,
scenes
show.
because
Like,
that's real life.
that's
It's
real
stuff that
life.
happens that people don't
And it
really
also
see.
helps make us aware of like why a lot of these people end
Yes,
up having like you don't see the trauma because it's
yes,
all
they have
happening behind the
mental health.
scenes where they're
Yes,
being traumatized in psychological warfare,
yes, and
you
that's why there's
know?
such a high level of creatives and entrepreneurs and just creatives in general that have you know, a high level of mental health illness and things
That's
like
it.
that because
Right,
it's
exactly.
a lot.
Exactly,
Yeah.
So, all right. Well,
Yes.
listen, that leads us to our affirmation for you all. And it ties in beautifully to what we're talking about. I
Hmm.
embrace who I am, and I even see imperfections as divine because they are gifts from the universe. And
Yeah.
so, love yourself,
It-
ladies, as you're navigating this week. Please share your thoughts, your affirmations,
Yes,
your
please.
journaling exercises, your experience. Maybe you were at that party with Ti and Tiny.
Right. You might have been
Maybe,
there. Let me
right,
know.
maybe you have some other fun tea that
Yes.
we want to hear about. Let us know.
Yes.
And we will be seeing you next week where we'll be talking about how to claim rest and self-care, ladies.
Mm, can't wait for that
All of
one.
our listeners, we will see you then.
Bye, guys.
Hello, I am so excited to be sharing with you a short coaching program over at Sunflower Spa that will help us think about finding our internal power, planting seeds intentionally that we want to see grow, and just all in all, how to love ourselves. So go ahead and check it out.